Cassian Andor. He's a rebel spy, super bad friend. Give you a hug at the very end. Make 10 men feel like 100. He's the rogue one for me. Kick you ass up, he's not in the show. Is he a fish or a thief? He's Cassian Andor. Cassian Andor. Cassian Andor. With MakingStarWars.net.
Hey, YouTube.gov. I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. And this is my friend who's passed on and become a Force Ghost, Rob.
Yeah, I've gone to DMV hell.
What is that one from? What is that one
License
from?
to drive.
License to drive. I should have known
That's
it was
when
going to
he-
be license to drive when you said DMV hell.
See, it's when he goes to get his Uncle Phil's in the car with him. Yeah. When I got my driver's license, I had this 80-year-old black woman who hated everything about the truck I had to drive. Me. I mean, she barely passed me, like the cup is empty kind of thing. I actually thought I'd failed it. So as we were pulling in the DMV, I'm like, I could just drive this into oncoming traffic and it really wouldn't matter. I didn't pass this. And then she passed me. So I'm glad I didn't do that.
Well, she passed you because she didn't want to see your face again.
That's basically it.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. So we're going to be talking about Cassian Andor stuff. Stars are just like us. Adria Arjona at the Morbius premiere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know why I wanted to share the image. I don't know why. I just why when I look at the picture do I think of Boss Nass making that? Why do I think of that scene from Phantom Menace?
It's a little bit of a stretch on that one, Jason, but I don't
know why. I don't know why. But so a couple of new.
You are blessed to look at such imagery. Come on.
So we learn in season 1 of Star Wars Andor that he was a cable man, and right here he's trying to hook
Diego
up
Luna fell on hard times and had to work at Galaxy's Edge during COVID. Just fixing all the robots and shit.
The white sabers got confused that he was the star of the show and like put him in the line and put him on a bus and sent him to work at Disneyland. He's like, okay.
He said the Bob paycheck barely even paid me a living wage. I had to live off Dole Whip.
Poor guy.
$8 bottles of Coke.
I gotta say though, this is though truly like the first image that like I'm like, is this actually from the show or is this just like a photograph of like them on set while they were doing something else? Because doesn't it look a little bit like, doesn't it look strange?
Yeah, it looks like something that you take for like EW.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know if it's actually like from, because like when we get to the next image, like we have all the lights going and stuff that looks like it's from the series, and that one doesn't. But yeah, so
there, you know what? There's some shots from even Empire where I'm like, all right, standing in front of a Macquarie painting.
Yeah.
Like not really. Early green screen or blue screen.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah. I mean, there's
the lighting
and
it's a little flat.
And Empire got upgraded because it looked worse before. The original version of Empire looks a lot worse. Empire is the ones. I think Empire is actually a really good special edition overall.
No, they turned it all blue. I still prefer the original. I like the Joe Johnston.
You're not a real Macquarie fan, because real Macquarie fans wanted blue. Because Macquarie's paintings were blue.
I'm not a big fan of the big blue. The big blue.
The big blue was the Macquarie change. It was better. Ruled. I'm kidding. I can't do that. I wanted to do that, but I can't do it. Anyway, yeah.
You got a cabinet to make or something? Like...
Fair enough. But yeah, so it's like right here we got Cassian Andor. It looks like, I mean, I don't know. I keep wondering, like I said, is this is like his like adoptive like mom or something? Because it's just like they say that if the droid has been with the Andor family for years, which seems, and her I think her name is Ma'arva, and so is she Ma'arva Andor? But she's like, isn't she like Harry Potter's aunt or something? Which makes me think that's an old white lady for sure. And so I'm like, maybe, you know, she's like the one who like raised Cassian or took him in after he leaves that planet or something. But we got 2 pictures of him fiddling with like some kind of a remote device or something with the droid. And like, so is he like, I wonder what's going on there. It's got to be, you would think it would be important. Could be lies, deception.
I'm turning him into a pressure cooker, taking him to the Imperial Marathon.
Maybe he makes rice. Maybe it's like a rice cooker, you know?
Is there anything BMO can't do?
That would be cool if they sold that though, you know, like your like rice cooker. But yeah.
My rice cooker makes a little jingle when it's done. Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Does it really do that?
Yeah, it does that.
That's magical.
From Japan. Yeah, get them from Japan, man. Don't buy none of these American ones. Fucking horrible.
But yeah, and then is this the same location or is it a different one? Looking at like the room and the ceiling, it's like kind of hard to say.
A different room.
I mean, you know, the one thing I noticed about the show, like overall, is like, yeah, this is like, looks like, is that a bar back there? I can't tell. I get like a bar vibe, but I can't tell if it is. It might not be.
It's Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah. There are red robots actually like that look like that droid's texture too in Galaxy's Edge. So
I'm modifying it so to make mac and cheese.
Like the way it uses like windows and light is like a very Macquarie thing, you know, like from Rogue One. You see that same kind of like lighting used.
He really changed it up on Fallout though, man. If you haven't seen Fallout, man, like
I haven't.
Oh man, dude, like one of the best looking movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, go back to sleep, lady. Here we go. All right, what's next? So right here, we got Gilroy directing, or at least talking to, looks like Diego Luna, and so I'm curious if he's one of the kids in that village, or is he always growing up? Like, do we see him? Because in the beginning we saw like the kid with the shoes and all that, you know, sneaking around and stuff.
What if he was born old? He just ages backwards.
They're doing a Hayden Christensen 40-year-old Padawan thing, kind of thing. Right now I am 6 years old. Can you believe it? I've been in this fight for 2 months.
Yeah, Anakin Buttons. Yeah.
But
he popped out of Shmi looking like Uncle Fester and worked his way backward.
Yeah. But all of that stuff was I believe this is the Pinewood set. Remember they had like the Black Park stuff that they filmed right outside Pinewood with like all the kids and those like little teepee camps and huts and stuff. And I believe this is like the same stuff. So I have to think that this is like early on. So I'm wondering if we're going to see him small in that place and then kind of like grown up, like if like a big time jump, you know.
Kind of reminds me of like the Wild Animal Park. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, it's way different than the zoo. It's got trees. You know?
Yeah. Look, they put a hammock in there. And then we got this article that came out, and well, I'm gonna open it up on my phone so I could read it because I can't read it in the slideshow, unfortunately. It's too hard. But it says Rebel spy Cassian Andor is back from the dead on his own messy complex prequel series. The cast and crew of Andor explain how their show is putting the grit into the Star Wars galaxy, and it's all going rogue, you know. And you see like the old picture of him doing his walk from the Incredible Hulk. And the next slide. So this is where those slides are from. Come on, open up. There we go. So at first, as first impressions go, Cassian Andor was certainly memorable. When we first meet the rebel spy played by Mexican actor Diego Luna, 10 minutes into
Yes.
2016's Rogue One, he was collecting vital intelligence from a fellow anti-Imperial informant. Within seconds, the pair are surrounded by stormtroopers, and the informant's broken arm means escape will prove doubly difficult. But this is, as the film's subtitle says, a Star Wars story. So surely Cassian will do what all Star Wars heroes do: conjure a cunning plan to spirit him away and his injured teammate to safety. Not so much. Without even blinking, our protagonist raises his blaster and coolly executes his companion before fleeing to transmit the intel.
That's
Alone?
how Jason's gonna take me out one day.
That's the
It's around
plan.
there. Yep.
The casual murder of colleagues is something we might come on, I know I can do this. Something we might expect.
Sokas and who's the other guy?
Mm-hmm.
Each one of them's looking at each other like, "Did you speak? Did you speak?
Oh no.
Did you?" And you're like, "Guys, don't do it! Don't
Just
do it!"
Make sure your right little paw's okay, and we're all good. Expect from the Empire, but from a member of the Rebel Alliance, what kind of good guy nonchalantly bumps off one of his own kind?
Yeah,
And then
Jason, why would you do that to me?
the kind who understands that the cause is more important than anything.
You
declares
don't like
Luna.
multiverses as much as Smash Brothers. I don't care if the backgrounds look bland as shit and the UI is stupid and has yellow outline. It has Scooby Doo. All right, Jason, you got me.
This is a complex man who has done nasty stuff for the cause. He has no commitments except for to the rebellion. What needs to happen to someone? What do they have to have witnessed? Will be willing to sacrifice everything the way he does. Rogue
Meet me
One.
down on Maskanata for the rebellion.
Yeah. He
Oh,
was
no.
he was her boyfriend before the Plum Bloom guy and Chewbacca. Rogue One, which ultimately saw Cassian and friends lay down their lives to pinpoint the Death Star's Achilles heel, barely scratched the surface of these questions. And Andor, the latest live-action Star Wars series to run on Disney Plus, aims to answer them in precise detail, predominantly set 5 years before the events of Rogue One, and thus 5 years before Episode 4, A New Hope. The show will track Luna's maverick intelligence officer from childhood to discovery, why his hatred from the Galactic Empire burns so deep.
Oh,
Showrunner.
Andor's going to Discovery Plus.
Oh, you think so? I think
No.
so.
Yeah.
I think Warner just sold it. They didn't have the rights. They just did it.
Yeah.
Um,
They just
show
did it.
showrun by Tony Gilroy, the screenwriter of the Bourne films, and featuring a sprawling ensemble cast that includes Fiona Shaw, Stellan Skarsgård, Adria Arjona,
I like it.
Genevieve O'Reilly, and Forrest Whitaker reprising his Rogue One role as the grizzled extremist Saw Gerrera, and
Mhm.
promises to be even darker and gnarlier than the film that spawned it. Here, its motley crew of rogues tell us why this is the gutsiest Star Wars outing ever. It's a spy thriller. So, okay, right from its inception, Rogue One was billed as a standalone Star Wars story, killing off 95% of your, I think it's going to say cast. Cast will do that. Even so, there were always discussions on set about what Cassian and co might have got up to prior to sacrificing themselves for the greater good. Even while we were making Rogue One, I remember Lucasfilm president Kathy Kennedy saying, "What else could we do with these characters?" Recalls
Pizza
Gilroy.
party.
Pizza party. Also, you sent me a piece of pizza picture that you made in that thing, and man, it made me hungry for pizza. You piece of shit. And it was Friday.
I got into
didn't
the
get no pizza.
Dolly. Guys, I got into the Dolly beta. As an artist, I'm like, let's see if these computers are replacing me anytime soon. Right?
Yeah.
Spoilers, they aren't. But
No.
but I did manage to get it to make a picture of George Lucas made out of pizza. And
It looked good.
I
wanted to-
I knew Jason
I wanted to
wanted
eat George Lucas. I really wanted to lick those pepperonis. Even while we were making Rogue One, I remember Lucasfilm president Kathy Kennedy saying, "What else could we do with these characters?" Recalls Gilroy, who was brought onto the movie literally as a script doctor before becoming a co-writer. Kathy asked for my take too, and I had an idea, but it was pretty radical and insane. Radical, largely because it in the exact same key as Gilroy's very on Star Warsy previous work. From The Bourne to brilliantly dark legal thriller Michael Clayton. That's the one I was trying to remember on Star Wars Santa Show. I was right. It was Michael Clayton. The writer's USP has always been political corruption and corporate shadow play. Ooh, that sounds hot. As much, he was less interested in lightsabers and Jedi mind tricks. So, corporate shadow play. All right. So, and Jedi mind tricks, and more concerned with creating a grounded, complex espionage thriller that just happened to be set in a galaxy far, far away. Happily, this was precisely what Kennedy was after. Andor comes from the same place as everything else that came out at this office, Gilroy tells Empire over Zoom from his LA workspace. Clayton, the Bournes, the Devil's Advocate, now this. It's all full on drama.
Gabriel Byrne 3-way.
You think so? I would like to. Is he still around? He's still around, right? Gabriel Byrne? No, I mean, I would like to see him in Star Wars. You know, he was up for Dooku back in the day. He was almost.
Why do you think I read Rogue Planet? Because Ray Sanar was in that fucking, that fucking book, and I was like, oh, he's gonna be Ray Sanar, and it's we're gonna get the no.
Yeah, he was a Dooku shortlist actor, I believe.
I do like the Ray Sanar Tarkin bits of that book. Everything else is fucking hogwash.
Yeah. The cast go further. This is very much a spy thriller, says Genevieve O'Reilly, who returns from Revenge of the Sith and Rogue One to play Senator turned rebel leader Mon Mothma. Each of the Star Wars live action shows has its own identity. Ours is gritty and messy. There are so many threads here, lots of intellectual and political intrigue. In this show, no one is quite who they seem, Skarsgård's character, the enigmatic Luthen Rael. So we get a last name here, Luthen Rael. Do we know that?
Lex Luthen Rael.
Luthen Rael, Rael.
The last name we didn't have, but the first name we had because of the subtitles.
Yeah. In this show, no one is quite who they seem. So comes to casting with a job offer before revealing intimate knowledge about our hero's past. Strap in for secrets, lies, double dealing, and dirty work. We're
just
all
like this show.
We're all in the back room with this show. Gilroy grins. We're all in the back room. We're all in the back room. The people in this saga are the gravel that the road to rebellion is built on.
Come on, Jason. They haven't mentioned a toothy Sarlacc once, so you got to give them credit.
You know what? No, I actually do have to say, the writer of this Empire piece is very good. I like reading this writer's writing. You know, it's natural to say on like my own writing. It blurs the line between light and dark. In the Star Wars universe, good and bad are traditionally clearly defined. When in The Force Awakens, John Boyega's ex-Stormtrooper Finn is asked why he's crossing from dark side to light, he simply states, because it's the right thing to do. But he's joking. He's joking.
Hero's journey. He should just yell that out.
Oh, Joseph J. Campbell. I don't know if J is his middle initial, but it is now.
Joseph Jesus F. Christ Campbell. I went there. How about that? What?
Part of what made Rogue One stand out within the franchise was the right thing to do was a more nebulous concept. In that film, good people did bad things, and bad people, well, no, they mainly did bad things too. But as Cassian Andor's opening scene illustrates, the line between heroes and villains was blurrier than usual for a Lucasfilm joint. Andor aims to blur it further. Song of the day, The Beach Boys, Heroes and Villains. Check it out if you haven't, youngins. Came out before my time.
Also, the right thing to do was a question posed in Shawshank Redemption, and I'm going to say the warden failed miserably.
The answer was anal. Cassian's first moment in Rogue One is morally compromised, says Gilroy. That's what makes him fascinating. He's a killer. He's fluid. He's seductive. He's manipulative.
Like John.
How did he get that? How did he get like that? That was the interesting thing with going back 5 years before the film. How big of a hole can we put this guy in And what would he have to do to crawl out? If this setup sounds eerily similar to the Book of Boba Fett, it should be pointed out that this particular hole is metaphorical rather than Sarlacc filled.
That's what she said.
Okay, they got a little punny at the end. They got a little toothy Sarlacc at the end there, didn't they? Then they kind
worked it in.
they got kind of close. The series opens on Cassian's adopted planet of Ferrix, so more confirmation of Ferrix, where our protagonist is eking out a solitary existence at a lowly street thief, albeit one who bears an uncanny. Here we go. Next page. Resemblance to Paul McCartney, circa Get Back. I've always teased with the. I've been teased with the comparison since I was a kid. Laughs Luna. I'm very happy with it. Yeah, because fucking Paul McCartney was like, Paul McCartney was the one that was getting laid. Ringo and John are like, hey man, we're the cool ones. George Harrison's like, I'm good looking, I'm fine. But Paul McCartney was the one who was slaying it yesterday style.
It's because I faulted. That's the problem. They come in, smells a little like a dank ferret.
Dank ferret. I saw Azachu's comment in my peripheral vision when I was reading it. It fucked me up for a second. I was like, dank ferret was said in the Lego Star Wars summer special. So dumb.
There you go.
Yeah. His contempt for the Empire is already strong. Flashbacks will show the infant Cassian's homeworld being terrorized by Imperial forces. Was it Imperial or is it clones, though? I think it's going to be the Republic, honestly. But, they're not that huge of a nerd. I'll give him a break. But he's a long way from the fanatical, dedicated rebel leader we meet in Rogue One. He's self-interested, borderline nihilistic. At this point, he doesn't even know he's capable of what he'll do in Rogue One, Luna explains. He says in that film, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. So, what could happen to a 6-year-old child to be involved in something like that? There's an interesting complexity to the character, tons of contradictions. We'll see what happens.
Forced to wear a mask to rebellion school.
Well, it starts with the IMF giving a loan to your country that you're forced to take or you'll be invaded. And then after that, you have to give capital on the, basically the interest of the loan that you took that you can never pay back. But that also means that, like, let's say if you made bananas, well, you have to import bananas now as part of that deal, or they'll say that you folded on your loan. Now, your country is essentially paying
for a
tribute.
Second, I thought you meant the Impossible Mission Force. Like, wait a minute. Which IMF are we talking about?
This is literally what happens in real life through the IMF, and then that's how we end up with 6-year-old one wanting to bomb us and things.
The book with the briefcase. What's that fucking book? The briefcase something.
The Notebook?
Something about. No, it was an actual book written about how we send guys in briefcases over to get them to get other countries to take money, basically, like borrowed money, what you just said.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of makes the United States it's kind of a feudal system in a weird way. And that's kind of like how imperialism sort of works, I think.
That's what capitalism is. It's just another name for feudalism, dude.
Well, yeah, it's like when you start to really get in the late game. And that's what I think we're going to see these corporations that were corporations during the Republic that were already corrupt. And then under imperialism, they just become monsters. I kind of think that's where the story's sort of going. It could be wrong, though. And if I am wrong, then there was your little history lesson for the day. His contempt for the Empire is already strong. Flashbacks will show I already read that. As an industrial planet under Palpatine's iron rule, there we go. As an industrial planet under Palpatine's iron rule, Ferrix offers a closer look at the grubbier, more desperate corners of the galaxy we only glimpse in Rogue One. You can't say these characters are good or bad, Luna tells Empire. They're just people surviving. Everyone has a dark area. And like Tony likes exploring that. In this show, even the droids have two sides to them. B2 Emo, what are you doing, bud? B2 emo is going to betray us, motherfucker.
During the day at school, B2 emo is waxing poetic about Nirvana, but when he goes home, it's all Weird Al. You know, like
He's
country
red.
music.
He's a Ruski. He's a Ruski.
He's listening to Garth Brooks and Chris Gaines.
Oh, and I'm not supposed to say anything,
Especially
but
to Chris Gaines.
thank you, Cadence, for giving out the channel memberships to people yesterday. I appreciate it, man. And I need to make your other account a mod. Just remind me when I'm not like, at Taco Bell. So that's really what happened.
Someone got Taco Bell?
Yeah.
And it wasn't Chris.
Also, we need to do a chat. Some people wanted me to put the Cassian Andor song out on streaming, but we should get Johnny to mix it. It's only a minute song. We should get Johnny to mix it though. Anyways, for Fiona Shaw playing Cassian's adoptive mother, Maarva. It says it right there. It says it right there. Yeah, for Fiona Shaw playing Cassian's adoptive mother.
I think you should just play the Andor song and then like record it on a tape recorder and then play it back on a tape recorder into the computer and put that one on.
That sounds cool.
Complete with right?
Yeah, like
and do it all analog. Yeah.
So there was a rumor, and I'm based off of this, I feel like it's cat's out of the bag. So I heard a rumor from Bespin, and so I want to credit him for it. That Andor's name isn't his name.
Oh, it's Handor.
Well, but what? No. But listen, for Fiona Shaw playing Cassian's adoptive mother was Maarva. The complexity of the themes was part of the attention. I was impressed by Tony's social realist intentions, says the Killing Eve star. He created a whole new morality. It's very deep and humane. There is grief, mourning, hope, fear. It's not just primary colors here. So I think that, in my opinion, is probably confirming that Cassian, that Andor is an adopted name.
This is more of a chromatic gray kind of like show.
Yeah.
Artists out there understand what that means. I'm not going to explain it. I do.
You know.
Yeah. Carlson's theories of angles. Go look it up.
Okay. Well, did I lose the page, or am I on it right now? Yeah. Well, let me see. Oh, you know what? So that's all we have from the article right now. But yeah, so that, and then we had these two slides from before that we already saw, and then we got. So, anyways, I'm going to go over to Bespin Bulletin now, and I'm going to share the old Bespin Bulletin website because he covered, and I like
Dark
this
Horizons
coverage.
Wished it was, right?
Old Dark Horizons. The
Garrett,
first
right?
Garrett? Garrett. Yeah, I think so. First reaction to Andor's Garth. First reaction to Andor's first 4 episodes appears online. Grounded, complex, expect division. And if you guys remember,
Star Wars fans like their shit real simple and stupid. So
well, we'll see that's no, it's. Thank you, Patrick. It was based on Queens. I Want to Break Free was based on Coronation Street. Got it. See, that's like a show that like I've never seen. It's never come on over here, and I've never seen it streamed or anything like that. So it's always one of those things where like I hear it, I'm like, is that? But I guess it's like a soap opera that ran for a really, really long time. All I know is fucking Roger Taylor. I'd date him. He's fucking adorable.
I told you that made me check my pronouns.
No,
when I
yeah.
was 6. I was like, hey.
No, it's like Freddie, Brian, and John, not so much, but Roger, you know what? Fucking, if I were you, I'd just stay like that. First reaction. I mean, imagine if he was playing fucking drums like that, though. You know, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that quite well. Dolly could get on that. Could fulfill some ambitions here.
So, first reaction to Andor's first 4 episodes appears online. Grounded, complex, expect division. If you remember yesterday, kind of like what like I said, I know somebody who wouldn't give me all the spoilers. They are respecting their NDA, but they kind of gave me
Shame
their
on them.
impression a bit. And like, it's sort of like it's falling into, it sounds like the show is going to fall into a weird place for people that are very serious about like high drama, people that really watch, adult shows. It's like it's closer to what they want, but then at the same time, it has the Star Warsy aspect to it that doesn't necessarily take it all the way. And so I'm
It's
curious
horrible,
to
isn't it, Jason?
I don't think
It's
so.
gonna suck. Right?
I think it's going to be I really think it's going to be perfect for you and I. I think it's going to like really, I think for you and I it's going to like be like perfect, where it's like this is the best show on TV. I kind of think that's where it's going to go. But then for people that are watching like very serious high
what
drama,
happened to Dooku's best friend? When is
Yeah.
that gonna happen? Like, those people.
yeah, no, that's and then you're gonna have people that are like expecting, Fives to show up and be the clone who's, and it, like that kind of stuff's not going to happen, I don't think. And so
the 7th episode of Clone Wars, the Techno Union would not allow this to happen. I've clearly watched all 7,000 episodes and read the Dark Horse comics and the IDW Disney Adventures. And I'm telling you, this show is breaking canon.
I don't know you. I don't know why you're here, Bob Lazar.
It's safer here than Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the UAPs right now.
Give us Element 115 or just shut the fuck up and go away.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Element 115 or shut the fuck up. That's what people need to start saying to him, though. Every single time he wants to go on TV, Element 115 or shut the fuck up.
He'd be happy to shut up. I don't think he wants to be on TV.
I don't buy that because he keeps not shutting up.
I think he gets coerced by Corbell. He was gone for a long fucking time. And then the Corbell shows up and he's just always like, like it's just, if Corbell would shut up and Bob would, he'd go back to just making dynamite, like whatever he does. I imagine Bob has that super genius business card Wile E. Coyote likes to bandy about,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first reaction, all right? So here we go. This is Bespin. We've known for a handful of days that press have seen 4 episodes of the highly anticipated Andor series. And though the series isn't due to release until the back end of September, an early reaction to the series made its way online. Reset Era user Ramala took to the forum to give their brief thoughts on the first 4 episodes of the upcoming Rogue One spin-off series. The user has previously shared early reactions to TV series and films in the past, such as Ms. Marvel and the upcoming The Sandman series for Netflix. So I believe that they have seen the show. The Reset Era user's comments is as follows. Quotes. Are you reading it or can you not?
Oh, I thought you were going to read it.
Oh, okay. You closed your throat. I thought you were ready to go in.
That's what I was doing, the reading voice. You were going to put on the reading voice.
Okay. I've seen the first 4, and it's the most serious, grounded thing Star Wars has ever done. It feels more like an English-made espionage thriller than Star Wars. It is totally unconcerned with giving you fan service moments, and instead wants to delve into what it's like for the bit players in the universe to wake up every morning and go about their day.
It's like Coronation Street with weapons.
This is not space opera. It's more space drama. It's slow, deliberate, complex for Star Wars, and asks the viewer to do some work. It actually humanizes roles that are traditionally cartoon evil in the Star Wars universe. It's attempting to tell a grown-up story, and I think a lot of fans are going to hate it. Both Gilroy's no, this is exactly
fans
what
want cartoonish evil. All they do is complain about Giancarlo Esposito's character being fucking dumb.
Not anybody in our show, in our chat right now, but Star
Inquisitors.
Wars fans are fucking stupid and they think they're super smart and that they like high art when they really like superheroes in Speedos.
They really like dolly images. That's what
But
they like.
yeah, I mean, myself included, I'm a fucking idiot. But both Gilroy's presence is all over this thing. It's got that cinema verite vibe that the core Bourne movies had going for them.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. I wanted to ask if you maybe because I'm dumb. Isn't cinema verite like when you pretend to be like a documentary, like Spinal Tap? Like, isn't that cinema
Well, it's what
verite?
Lucas wanted with
But
all of
is
his
it
movies to feel like a
so?
documentary.
It's just like a faux documentary, kind of like we kind of like put the handheld camera there and got you on your date,
Exactly
kind of
like
stuff, right?
THX 113 and
Yeah.
American Graffiti,
Yeah, or
and what Lucas
a New
felt.
Hope, the opening of A New
A New
Hope,
Hope.
more.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
So it puts you in the world like never before. Whether the world can hold up to that level of scrutiny is up for debate, but it is fascinating. And that last line is exactly what the person who I know who's seen it was essentially saying. You know what I mean? Is like it has its limitations and they are shown, kind of. It's sort of the vibe I got. But whatever. I think you and I are gonna like it. I think that I think Star Wars fans who also like serious TV, so to speak, will probably enjoy it. So
I think with the average Star Wars fan, their complaint, and they won't make it, they won't know why, but I'll tell you what their complaint will be.
Mhm.
It'll be, ain't no lightsaber. And I've said this before, like, if you take Vader out of Rogue One, people forget about it. It's a fantastic film. It's my second favorite, or third favorite, Empire, New Hope, and Rogue One. But like, Vader's what they always remember, right? There's fucking a million brilliant, beautiful shots and action sequences and all sorts of shit in that fucking movie. But the minute the lightsaber comes out, and then I started thinking to myself, I'm like, is Star Wars really bound by lightsabers? If you take the lightsabers out of Star Wars, does it feel like Star Wars anymore? And I personally feel it doesn't matter, but I think fans go, well, it's the robes and the sabers, it's a space wizard, and which is why whenever some new series comes out, it's always like, which vague fucking Jedi from a Dark Horse comic is gonna be in the background now? Like, I gotta have it. Oh, I gotta have it. Gonna have a pistol right up my ass, or I don't like the series. It's just like that kind of shit. So,
yeah, I mean it's that's what I want to do, I guess, or what I want to say is I actually want to kind of compliment them in terms of the buffet of Star Wars that they are now offering this year. When you get down,
oh yeah, 100%.
Like
it's to include the animation as well.
Yeah, like when you get down to Japanese stylized Star Wars animation, to the Bad Batch, very just like rudimentary normal Star Wars cartooning. Then you got, we're gonna have more Mando. We had Obi-Wan Kenobi. We had Book of Boba Fett. Like in like a year's time, essentially, there's a pretty big, and now Andor, a pretty big like swath of different kind of shows to make different kind of fans happy. And I'm the kind of fan where as long as all of those things are high quality in what they are doing, like as long as I look at it as what it aims to do and it does that well, I'm happy. And so I'm excited for this one. And it's just, but I kind of know, like, it's weird. I'm excited for it, but then I also know like my kids are probably going to ask me to stay up and I'm probably going to say yes. And then they're probably going to go to sleep on it. You know what I mean? And it's fine, but because it's just this is what that one's going to be, I think.
Yeah, but
we'll see.
8. I don't think I could look. I couldn't when I was 8. It's pretty advanced in terms of my taste. Is it for an 8-year-old?
My son is too. My son is too. Yeah.
But I don't know how into the Bourne identity I would have been when I was 8. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I like Gotcha. I like
no, exactly. No, I like Gotcha too because. Well, it's like look at like as kids, I would like aspects of James Bond, but it's not until puberty that you get James Bond. You know what I mean?
Honestly, for me, it isn't until Casino Royale 2006 that I care.
Yeah.
Like that whole.
But Gotcha.
Shit.
At the end, he shoots the cute girl in the butt with it. Remember?
I know.
You're like, fuck yeah, that's what I would do, man. That's what I would do.
I know. That's what Goose did before he enlisted into the military. But
Yeah. I think so. Patrick Boyle asked a question. So are we talking Star Wars Law and Order? I wouldn't say Star Wars Law and Order. I would say I haven't. I'm maybe going above my pay grade here because I haven't actually watched all of Succession, but it sounds like a little closer to that kind of thing, maybe in terms of like drama. Does that seem? Have you watched Succession?
Yeah, when the Trumps are all gone, then I'll sit through that shit. But in the meantime,
Too real? Too real?
Too real, bro. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'd rather watch sports anime. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I know. I sent you I sent Rob a UFO video last night, and it was from Tucker Carlson, but of a prominent scientist who went on Tucker Carlson, unfortunately. And he's like, I'm not watching that fucking Nazi. And I was like, I had to go a long way to find a rehost of it because I didn't want to give that motherfucker 1 penny of ad revenue from anything for me. But it's difficult times.
I'm not watching Nazis. I'm not doing it.
No,
unless they're being lit up on fire in the beginning of fucking Saving
unless
Private
they're
Ryan.
looking at the arc. The user who also
yeah. You know what? That's the appropriate time to use the Austin Powers. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
I know if any of you ever get a chance to go on Tucker Carlson, and if you pull out a little replica of the arc out of your pocket and open it up and tell him to look in it, I'll be your best friend. That would just be the funniest fucking thing that ever
hope
happened.
Fans hate this show so they don't watch it, and I can just watch it by myself.
No,
online.
we want
I'll be the
everybody
only
to
one.
watch it, because then they will make more.
No, they're already making the other ones. This isn't like the HBO. The Disney, they're going to see it through. You know.
No, well, they will make season 2 before the machinations of season 2 are being pushed in before this one could even underperform or perform. So
I caught you. I knew you wanted it to underperform, Jason.
I don't want it to underperform. I'm saying I think that they believe in the concept so hard that they want to make sure that season 2 gets going before this one could fail. You know what I mean? Like that way, because then when it's all out, then it will gain love over time, and people will be like, oh, it's good, and then it will, it's more like this one. Like Book of Boba Fett was one where you instantly just had like, here's stuff, have fun, and whether it's good or bad is not my point. Just that here's stuff, have fun. Sarlaccs and Rancors and Tusken Raiders and shit like that. This one is more like, oh, you have to really follow the plight of these characters. And like, I don't know, is Luthen going to be likable? I find him really fascinating out the get-go, but I don't know if he's going to be like a likable guy. And if he's like if he's like kind of like in the first episode, sort of like a prominent, person in it, that's going to color how like people that aren't super invested see it, So
I don't know what super invested means anymore. Because on one
super
hand,
invested means if that was Boba Fett's first appearance in anything ever, people wouldn't care.
I get
but
it,
they're super invested in Boba Fett.
You are talking. Let me give you my point of view on all this, right?
Sure.
I believe when people use the term super invested and the way typical film fans and film pundits on YouTube speak about shit, they speak about things in unrealistic terms that I don't believe they actually mean, because they'll say something like, I wasn't engaged, I gave up, I didn't care. And then they'll watch fucking 1,000 episodes of Dragon Ball fucking Super. You know what I mean? And I'm like, don't tell me every one of those fucking things was super invested when Goku charged up for 9 fucking episodes. Right. Like, I don't want to hear shit about that. Like, it's just not a consistent thing. I think that I think a lot of times, man, we like to go here, and I'm not gonna say I'm guilty of it, but I've done it too, because we have to talk about fucking Star Wars. I'd rather not sit around telling you how I think I'm critical of something. But I think when people talk about their level of like when they go, I'm bored with Marvel movies, they're all dead, it's all in decline, and then they go fucking and then Thor makes another $700 fucking million. Like, that's Batman money. Like, you're not on a decline. It's just that they say certain things about the most popular shit, and then everything else they watch literally 1,000 episodes of fucking Unsolved Murders or Law and Order, CSI. Like, what were they saying? Like, the #1 watch show on Netflix. It's like some fucking 900-year-old show, dude. It's like one of those CSI Law and Order fucking things.
Warner Brothers Warner Brothers ordered like 40 fucking British reality shows.
Right. And so when I hear people like, I wasn't super invested, and I went, shut up. The real question is, at the end of the day, when you watch something, for me, I'm like, did that inspire me to get up and go draw or make something or fucking watch it again? You know?
For me, like what I was getting at, like Ms. Marvel, I'm not invested in that. I don't know anything about it. I watched one episode. I just wasn't really engaged, and then I just forgot to watch it and never watched it anymore. Had that been Boba Fett, though, I would have went back until I saw the whole thing.
Yeah, but that universe is your aesthetic. You're not New Jersey ain't your aesthetic. You know, New Jersey and Star Wars probably more your aesthetic. You know,
and and that's where I'm going with it. Is I am super invested. Therefore, I will stick it out. I will keep watching, and then hope.
Meanwhile, these guys buy a new Pokemon game every fucking 6 months, Jason. Don't tell me they're all brand new and unique and totally original.
Trust me, dude. I lived through 2019 of people, in 2017 shitting all over like the Last Jedi, talking about what it did to their childhood and not their Luke Skywalker, only to click on their profile and see them literally take balls and all of Batman versus Superman into their throat. And I'm just like, I don't know what kind of person you are. I don't understand your taste. I'm out. You know what I mean? I have nothing to talk.
Most of them have never even read The Dark Knight Returns. You know, that's the funny part about it, bro. You know?
Yeah.
Because when they're like, I don't want politics in my Batman versus Superman, I'm like, you should perhaps read The Dark Knight Returns.
Wait until Robin shows up and it's a little girl.
Wait till Ronald Reagan shows up.
Yeah.
And watches, it has Superman fucking.
Did it have Thatcher too, or am I thinking of V for Vendetta?
V for Vendetta.
I'm thinking of V. Yeah. Shit I read when I was like a little kid now. You know what I mean? Like graphic novels. Right. I think those were like two of the ones I read really young. Well, I read Batman really young. I think I read V for Vendetta in my teens. But anyway.
But this whole whether I'm invested in something, it's just I get what you mean. I really understand what people mean. The reality is the average fucking consumer will just turn on the most mundane shit and give it the biggest fucking pass.
Well, like
known to man. Like
every time a Star Wars show happens, my father watches them all. And every single time I have to reground every aspect of it for him because he literally just watches it, puts it on, puts his fucking Hungry Man TV dinner down, fucking chomps at that shit, watches it, and then it in and goes about his life. And like there's some zips and zooms and they're happy. And like that's kind of like how it generally goes. And it's not until you really elevate into like being like a fan that you're like yearning for things. You know what I mean? And that's I think where it changes. But
Will Morgan says 10-1, everything that inspired Rob, probably Hero's Journey based. 1,000% no. like seriously, the intros to Thundercats, not the show, just the opening inspires me. The whole show's bullshit. I just like the animation. It inspires me. All right? Like, Beavis and Butthead inspired me. I'm like, this is fucking stupid, and yet it's hilarious. You know, like, Truffaut. Who's the French director who does all those crazy movies? Truffaut, yeah. Fucking brilliant. Inspires me. I watch that guy's shit. I'm like, how the fuck did he film that when the guy's walking around the department store and shit? Like, I don't know. How about the movie The Illusionist, animated film, which is also based on Truffaut, but it's like an animated version of that. You know, Dragon Quest, I mean, is a hero's journey, I suppose, but no, not at all. And in fact, I would say there's very little hero's journey in a lot of Kurosawa films. Take out the fucking, like, where's the hero's journey in Stray Dog? You know, like, go find that one. You know, Yojimbo. No, I don't think so. So, yeah, I get you guys are being a little like whatever, but it's just that this whole thing, like Boba Fett has giant numbers, right? They're like big numbers, and it's like if you're a person who related to that story, I want to meet you like in real life. Like I want to meet the real, because I want to know like how did you? I get the most relatable part of that story is Boba Fett with the Tusken Raiders. After that, I don't see what in that show's relatable. What's relatable about it? I don't know, man. Like it's just, and I just think with Star Wars, there has to be
Well,
something you can relate to.
I'll tell you what's fucking relatable. We've all jumped down a hole and got stuck in there, you know, and then you got to climb your way out. Sorry.
Good visual effects, and we all want to hang out with Ming Na Wen, you know, just eating turkey legs and talking shit.
I was trying to post that that YouTube video for Will Morgan, but it's being a bitch. Hold on, let me
you do it.
I can do it. I could do anything. I have the power.
It's like reading Rainbow.
I can do anything.
I think when it comes to like
I'm a
anything
crook.
that
It's in a book. Sorry.
I'm just gonna tell you, when you have like a space saga, right, and you start to bring in rebellions and politics, like that's where Deep Space Nine like did a way better job of it than any other Star Trek. And I think Rogue One did a really good. Catalyst is an excellent book in terms of bringing in politics and prequel shit. The politics of the prequels, it's as cartoonish as it gets. Like, and I get why he did it, but I'm like, had it not been so cartoonish, then the themes that Lucas was putting in there, which are really strong and really important, and I think lessons every American should be really fucking paying attention to, you know?
Yeah.
They get lost. They get lost around me's a delegate delegates, you know, like it's just not. It's like, all right, man, that's not the time.
Yeah,
for
George.
it.
Yeah, the politics of Star Wars is, I think, super simplified as to work as a parable, so to speak, in different times, not knowing what the political climate will be in the future. It's sort of like what Campbell does. It's whittled down to its bare essence, and then you know there's room to critique it to some extent, but yeah. So yeah, Will, I gave you that video from Maggie May Fish that we're talking about yesterday. I don't remember if I sent it to you yet, but when you have time, watch it. Let me know what you think. I think her general critique is somewhat valid. She gets into like the personal side of the backstory of and the shit that he says, where I don't think that like it necessarily pertains to the hero's journey's validity or not. So, but it's still interesting information, you know, but also a little bit presentist in its take, you know, like, you know, he is still a man of his time, and, you know, it's easy to critique anybody, you know, people will look back on these YouTube videos of us and be like, they were terrible, you know, it's just how it goes. If there's progress, who knows? Maybe they'll think we are liberal monsters and this is the roaring 20s, you know? Anyways, the user also added a response to a comment that they believe the 3-episode premiere for the series was needed, as the 3 episodes served as an entire story arc and compared it to a movie. Further on in the thread, the user praised the writing, as the heroes can act like villains and vice versa. On the subject of characters, the user referred to the titular character, and that's where he wanted to say tit, and how we ended up with our first image of the day, characters, as the least interesting when compared to Mon Mothma and Stellan Skarsgård's Luthen Rael.
That's subjective.
I think it's Rael in that other article, by the way. So this might be a typo, or there might be some contention as to how it's spelled. Anyways, of the first 4, Luthen and Mon Mothma are definitely the Rebel MVPs. Andor is probably the least interesting character, but then they got a long way to go to get him to the man we meet in Rogue One. There is much more interesting characterizations going on the Imperial side of things, and let me tell you, it is fascinating to me. I kind of wish we got a whole show about that. So, which is kind of a weird comment. It's like, isn't it a show about that? A whole show about that? Or no? But maybe she just means like
anything else. I don't care if it's the, you know, you're using a 3-act, 4-act, 5-act structure, whatever, you know, if you're using 0 structure, it's irrelevant. A story is literally telling something that's interesting and captivating, you know? And honestly, the only thing that has to happen in a story is people who make meaningful choices that have meaningful consequences. Like that is it. And that could be a story of you going down the street or you working for the Empire. And so long as the decisions made in here are meaningful and the consequences are meaningful, then I'm along for the ride.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
yeah. No, that's I mean at the end of like everything, it's like Star Wars is always a bit weird too, because sometimes it can kind of wow you, at least me, and I'll be like, oh, that was so fun, like I had such a good time, great stuff. And then after it sits for 6 months or a year, you're kind of like, I don't know. And what's kind of weird about like Rogue One was Rogue One I was so into when it came out, then I burned out so hard on it, and then I think because of Andor, it opening like that door back up, I'm like into it again. You know what I mean? It made it where like I think there was just like a part of Andor that felt so like done. And you were kind of like, oh, okay, well, it did all it's gonna do and said all it's gonna say. There's like there's no more room to dream here. And then once they decided that they were gonna do the Andor series, it kind of like was like, well, okay, they are gonna explore these things more. And
Not
that
just this
makes me happy.
particular subject matter, it's just the tone of what they're doing, and this sort of candid reality way of shooting Star Wars. I believe both your superhero Jedi stuff, prequel-y stuff, can exist along this.
Yeah.
I'm not a guy, 20 years ago I would have been like, delete all your fucking stupid cartoon shit, just give me my shit. But this now I'm like, the problem with that is anytime you go down one path, it's like Butthead said once in a Beavis and Butthead cartoon, if everything was cool, how would we know what sucked? And if everything's the same thing, then you're just going to parody yourself. So there are two different audiences at the and I'm so oversimplifying this, but let's say you got your Mando is the better version of the prequel, where it still kind of exists in that Return of the Jedi. It's got Muppets and a little bit of a cartoonishness, but it has him hacking people up with the fucking sword, right? Like Luke would have done, So I agree with that. But I think that can exist alongside a Rogue One style shit permanently,
Right.
Even if it isn't these characters or these particular storylines, they can take this tone, move it up to the Rey era, and do all different characters and not Rey in them and all that stuff. And that tone can sit right alongside something else.
Yeah. No, and that I think is the, I don't know, not to get too poetic about it, but sort of the like power of Star Wars on television is the fact that it like we could see Rey in something. We won't, but we could see Rey in something like that someday, And last night, though, just brought up Beavis and Butthead. I watched the Beavis and Butthead show that came back on Paramount Plus. No, the actual show is back. Where they watch they watch TikTok videos and stuff, and it's really good. It's same quality as it ever was. It's super great, but fuck, man, yeah. That happened. They go in a bathroom.
Dolly credits on that.
No, that's in the show. They go in a bathroom and that's on the wall. And I was like, fuck.
Well, guess what my background is tomorrow, Jason?
I know. It's fair. But it's super good though. I suggest everybody watch it, If you like this show, you'll probably enjoy it. And then this cover just came out right now. And
it looks like it's saying sex.
yeah, it does.
Guys, look, this is
no. I've always thought that was like the subliminal like message in that magazine. You know what I mean? Like it's
real subliminal. Like it's just I'm just looking like first off,
and thank you Woa for sending that over. I think Woa's watching the show. I think.
God, I fucking hate magazines, man. That's why I love Cinefx. Picture and a logo. You know what I mean? Old Wizard magazine used to just be a cool piece of artwork in the logo. This bullshit, man. I mean, like, that is hilarious.
I have looked like Paul McCartney and Get Back since I was 6 years old. And then, like right here, we could see a little bit of those derpy workers. They honestly look a little. They look a little colorful here, don't they? For dock worker kind of guys, kind of stuff going on. So I'm hoping
pumped up the colors on that image.
I'm sure. I'm sure when we get, I'm sure the show won't.
I've done magazine design work, and I know like you have to pump up colors for.
Is that Peely from? Is that the banana from from
No, that's the IMF
Fortnite.
banana. That's the IMF banana.
It's the
Got Andor's
IMF
playing.
peely banana that they can't sell. They have
Yeah.
to import bananas and export their own for a cheaper
Like
price.
Jesse's jokes, it's low hanging fruit. You know?
Oh, actually, I saw Jesse, and then I wanted to say hi to him.
Yeah.
He made a comment earlier, and I wanted to say hi, Jesse.
I know it was an easy joke. So
How are you, Jesse? But yeah,
Thank you for getting me my stuff.
in Sex Magazine, Rogue One, Sex Magazine. Yeah. Oh man, that is pretty funny though.
I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah. I wonder if there is a sex magazine. You know, I mean, if there's not, there should be. I would subscribe to be like, hey, I want to try some stuff I learned in Sex Magazine. But yeah, so anyways, we have right there we have, you know, we're seeing pictures. We have a first the first impression. I'm going to say that first impression that we just heard is probably really fucking on, based off of the fact that I've heard that essentially what they're saying rephrased a very similar way.
Okay.
And it sounds like their reading is very similar. It's not the same
Bespin
person.
believes it.
And yeah, and Bespin agrees. And
Bespin's
all
usually
this
on
all the
point.
stuff that we've been hearing, you know, it does sound like this is, when I don't mean like Batman fake dark. Oh, I'm crazy now because my parents got killed. I mean, like, it sounds like everything is truly like the darkest take on these realistic concepts and what they would look like in the Star Wars universe. And so it's, you know, it the big question that you kind of end up with is this the best way to deal with this real life stuff or not? And usually the answer in
Yes.
science fiction is, yeah, it is the best way, because people can see a point, because they're like divorced from being patriotic or hating the libtards or something like that. It goes a completely different way, you know?
Someone yesterday in the comments, might have been Tyron or Will, I can't remember. Someone had said that Tenet was Chris Nolan's James Bond, because I was like, hey, Chris Nolan should make a James Bond movie. And I'm like, yeah, and that did not work with audiences in the same way that George Lucas's first science fiction film, THX 1138, was not a breakthrough hit. His second stab at science fiction, he retooled it, simplified it, right? Made it more of an adventure. That's what Nolan needs to do. And I think in this situation, like, this is one of those things where it's like, science fiction, I think, so it can be grounded and have heavy themes, but it does have to have, like, there needs to be somewhere in here where you're like rooting for somebody.
Rooting and tooting.
You do root for a Jason Bourne, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you understand, yeah, guys killing people, it's not good.
Yeah,
But you
I mean,
do need a character that you are rooting to survive or win or whatever, you know.
I think that's an excellent point, because this could have a problem where when you are rooting for somebody, they're not in the next 3 episodes. Like if you're like watching like Luthen.
Well, that's
is that his
the
name?
problem
Luthen?
with any anthology series. When you were like, hey, you should do an anthology Star Wars series, I'm like, the problem with an anthology series is the minute you're like, I like this, and then you get no more of it.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's
like,
with Clone Wars, like the anthology series worked in the sense that you didn't need to fall back in love with Ahsoka every time. And on this one, I don't think it's going to have that luxury, because clearly we believe Luthen's going to die. We're pretty sure. And
well, we're all going to die, Jason. Gilroy's pretty confident about that.
Yeah, tell people about that comment if you want to. That was really good.
I don't remember the exact quote. I would hate to paraphrase.
They asked, there was like a press conference yesterday, and they asked him, was it challenging doing this show because we know he's going to die? Or was it challenging doing a prequel where you know that the hero is going to die? And he said, we're all living in a prequel because we're all going to die.
Yeah.
and
I agree.
Yeah, no, I agree too. On this show, I've said, I'm like, you know, if you were telling the young years of Benjamin Franklin or stories from George Washington's life, we all know historical figures are dead, but yet we still enjoy the movies that they're in, and not all of the movies are about their death or have to be. you know, and it's like the same thing, you know. You watch Patton, you don't really care. I mean, I don't really like Patton that much, but you don't watch, like, if you watch Patton, you're not like, oh, I know he dies in a Jeep accident a few years later or a few months later. It's kind of irrelevant. So
every character
the way he
in
put
every
it was
show
fantastic.
in their timeline will one day be dead too.
Yeah,
You know, like every one of them.
Luke's dead now. Luke's dead now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only things, look, this is the problem when Batman lives forever, right? Is in American comic books, we just have these characters like Snoopy and Charlie Brown and Batman and in American
Superman died
cartooning,
once, and a bunch
Mickey
of people
Mouse,
bought the comic book and never opened
they
them.
just keep going and going and going. You know,
This is your retirement, Jason, Grandpa said, giving me 5 stacks of Black Superman's Dead comics. And then 5 months later, we were buying the white cover. I remember the bag with the white cover. He's back. It was a few months later.
Okay.
Remember that?
So, hey man, I go on my tangents, so I'm gonna.
It's sex.
Should make that your Tinder profile. Like,
Should be a lot of disappointed ladies when Diego Luna doesn't show up.
You should, or the Beavis and Butthead Jason eat my balls. Eats his balls.
I should put
That'll
that
work.
one on there. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, because
it's pretty
I
good.
honestly think if you see that and then you think, oh, I'm not talking to that guy, we weren't meant to be, you know?
And anyone who does, you're like, well, this has got to be some fun, right? Right.
But anyways, sorry, what were you saying? Did I make you lose it?
No, I can't remember.
Will says, I went to see Tenet in the theater and saw motherfuckers get up and leave in reverse. Are you serious? That's either like the coolest thing I've ever heard or the cringiest thing. It totally depends on the person's delivery of that. But
I walked out of Sonic, but that was a whole nother Sonic 2, not Sonic 1.
no, I think he's like people pretended to walk out backwards, like
I wished people were that clever, but they're not. I am.
I mean,
That's some shit I would do.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I didn't go to the theaters and still haven't watched it, so couldn't tell you.
Like I said, you know the fucking comic book guy from The Simpsons?
Yes.
I sat next to him for Return of the King, and he ruined the movie for me. Watching comic book guy from The Simpsons with his fucking ponytail and no hair on the top, with fucking tears going down. It just put me into a rage, and it actually truly ruined that movie for me. I'm never going to be.
Well, audiences ruin movies for me, Jason. Like I'm like a Japanese audience. I sit there, I shut the fuck up, and then afterward I talk. Like I you know, like, and I shut the fuck up all the way to the end of the Marvel Stingers, the after credits, the second after credits, whatever that shit is, you know.
Yeah.
I don't get people who are in the fucking theater going, oh, this is really good, or that asshole. You know, there's always one in the theater, Jason, that has to like lean forward, right, and put his hands under his chin, like he's really.
Yeah. Like, this is it, guys. This is
it. Yeah. I'm like, dear God,
when Phantom Menace came out, I remember I was kind of that guy. I had a hoodie. I put the hood on. I fucking pulled the string like I was Elliot, and I was like, I didn't want to. Nobody fuck with me. I don't want to see you. So
it's like, if you don't want to see anyone, you got to sit in the front 3 rows. All right.
Yeah.
You won't be seeing anybody.
not to sound like pretentious, but I'll go to the movies and like I'll either be completely engrossed in it or like something will flip like a sociological switch on, and then I'm like interested in how the audience is reacting to the film the whole time. And like I don't know if when that happens it's because there's something wrong with the movie and I'm bored and that's why it happens, but I think I do that on movies I like sometimes, so it's really weird. But
you could have a little attention deficit.
That's probably
my wife would tell me this is not how it works, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm not your psychologist. I can't fucking help you with that. But the inability to sit, probably because I sit and draw. You know, a lot of times, man, when I'm sitting here, like I'm talking to you, and all of you all. But a lot of times there's not even music. I just sit here in the silence working, you know, for hours and hours and hours. So like I can focus. What I don't like is when the people around me, if they're cheering, fine. But when they're like, and then you over here, he's in that other movie, you know, and that's tied into.
Is his last name really not Andor? Oh my
God. On a cover that said sex. I'm waiting for the sex.
Wait a minute. Wait. This is a space show? I thought it was a sex show based off of that magazine.
I
But
went down on
by the
Masquerade
way,
for the
remember.
rebellion.
So I also
They
thought
called
this
me
was
Puss in Boots. Sorry.
yeah.
Had to make that joke. Had to do it.
Remember when we were talking about why did they reschedule the show, and we were also talking about like, will the coverage start on the 1st when it was supposed to come out on the 31st? And I was like kind of betting, like my two bets were it was going to come out, the trailer would be August 1st. That was a bet, not inside knowledge, and that ended up panning out. And that we would start to
Right.
see coverage this month because they would want the coverage out and on the stands at your dentist office, wherever, your doctor's office, by the time you use the show comes out. So we're seeing that now. So in a weird way, the press coverage is starting way early. The 4 episodes went out way early, but we also, our read was, why would they want to go into, why would they want competition when they don't have to have it? And you have like Game of Thrones, and you have Lord of the Rings, and all these big
She-Hulk.
streaming shows coming out that haven't had anything in a very long time, if ever, on a streaming service like Lord of the Rings. And so there's like a lot of incentive to like want to cover that more. But look at this cover. Game of Thrones is reborn. The Lord of the Rings, and they're right here with Diego Luna's pretty face. So I think I think that might be evidence that they generally made the right choice in pushing it back.
Well, let's be honest though. I'd rather look at him than one of them fucking hobbits on that cover.
Yeah.
One of them,
But
no, I mean like the cool ones from the first movies. I mean like them really Harry Knowles looking ones from the fucking prequels. Yeah. Those are the big schnozzers and
he follows
fucking
me on
lamb
Twitter,
chops.
and I'm always afraid of making fun of him as a like personality and like hurting his feelings. I don't know why. But Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, like I said, are both mentioned in this cover. But look at what's going on now with that move, though. Cassian Andor is right there in the middle of Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings on the cover of this magazine, and the show's not coming out. So it literally stole light from them, attention that they could have had. And
Who's
then
really
it boned
reading
out.
magazines, though, Jason? Like, I read, and
This
I'm
is
not
one.
reading.
This I'm not promising in totality, but this is the first instance of it. Will we see that trend continue? We
I
might.
still think magazines are bigger overseas where they have public transportation, like trains and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, it's because we drive.
Urban areas and stuff like that. You see magazine stands like.
Yeah, but like when you're reading, I stayed in Germany for a few years, and reading's fun on the trains because you don't have to drive. And now you got your phones. I didn't have cell phones then, but I guarantee you, I'd still be popping open a magazine if there was something worth reading. On those fucking things.
Rick Jones. The next issue of SF Magazine is just going to be the word fuck.
Yeah, that's a good. It's almost a trilogy.
Johnny says, how about when people chew with their disgusting mouths open, or rolling around in a bag of popcorn on their 7th extra large Coke of the day, slurping like a cow? You know
bro.
what?
It wasn't the last movie I was in, but wasn't Batman. It might have. There was some fucking thing I saw. Oh, you know what it was? It was fucking Green Knight. Some dude ripped a fart in that fucking. Because it was me and like 3 people. I guess he figured no one was there, and he was far enough away. He goes, and I'm like, you fucking asshole, dude.
Let's just use that as our moment to remember: if you could smell that fart, you can get COVID.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I left.
If that fart went into your nostrils.
Yeah, that's why I told you, I just didn't watch it because I didn't want to get into it. So I just waited until the fucking A24 streamed that, and I paid for that.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't go into these fucking rooms. People are disgusting, man. They're disgusting.
Oh, I got a text from Revenge Guy. He watched Willow. I didn't get to ask him his opinion. I was hoping he was going to come on it was going to come on the show because I want to know what he thought. But Revenge Guy has seen Willow. If you guys haven't seen Willow, you guys need to see Willow. Me and Johnny need to watch Willow. I think if Johnny's free, we got to watch Willow. I don't think Johnny has seen Willow. Hey, what's up, Jawa Knight? What am I? Come on, Manny. What did I do? Hey, Salvador. Hello there. I have a random question. The Sith tradition says always two there are. What happens with that rule in Tross? A secret apprentice? In
Rise of
Tross,
Skywalker?
I don't.
Tross?
No one is ever christened a Darth So if you're inferring that Palpatine is
Hold on.
Darth
When you call
Sidious,
someone Darth, the way you said it, it sounds like
Darth.
it sounds
Yeah.
like you're using the R word. Just letting you know.
Yeah. So Kylo never gets like, Darth Ren, like for instance, that never happens. So he doesn't get it, and then Rey doesn't get it either. So the problem with that movie is it was just all a trick. The original plan was that he was going to get both of the dyad together and then drink their vampiric dyad blood to the lightning thing
Democrats
to bring himself back. Yeah.
Like CNN.
Instead, Sith lightning made the Gungans gay. This is what the takeaway was. But no, it just ends up like it ends up being like what was his plan, And I would
JJ knows.
well, I would say that at the end of the day, just for pure vanity reasons, the idea was always to kill Ben Solo, to fuck over Skywalkers, fuck those guys, and to prop up his own offspring, who is sort of a mirror image of himself. Not really a mirror image, but it's him.
He should have been like, Rey, we're brothers and sister. We have to do it.
Yeah.
We have to do it. We have to fulfill the prophecy. Brothers and sisters.
If I was writing like a book today with like those characters or something like that, I would probably try to make, because I guess they kind of run into the romance angle. It's weird because they don't go far enough. But I feel like being a dyad. Well, yeah. being like a dyad in the Force, you would think would be a super intimate thing that could be at the level of either romantic or family. You know what I mean? Like that you have that connection to somebody that is that one is like a super special one, is what they set up in that story. And then you have like, I'm just your grandpa, basically. And so that's where I just find it weird, because like I don't feel like Palpatine did anything at all to seduce Rey into the concept of like, I'm your family, like your family's here, come to grandpa. Like it was just like this old weird guy. He's like, I'm gonna give you all my shit. It was, and I know like apologists will be like, because Palpatine doesn't understand love. You don't understand Palpatine. He doesn't understand relationships or love, and he underestimates the Skywalkers. This is what he does. Sure, fine, but that doesn't tempt Rey whatsoever. Do you want to hang out with fucking sexy ass Ben Solo, who's come back and he's been healed and he doesn't have scars anymore? Or do you want to hang out with this old fucking piece of shit falling apart turd who says he's your grandpa and wants to give you this lovely piece of real estate?
It's essentially the plot to Nothing But Trouble, Jason. You realize that? Yes.
Which is why they should have got Dan Aykroyd to direct episode 9. And
man, you couldn't have done worse.
Deep big John Candy in there. I'm just saying, as
couldn't have done worse.
Porkins Jr. would have been great. But yeah. So anyway,
I'm a chili dog.
Oh God! If you have never seen Nothing But Trouble, Google Nothing But Trouble chili dog scene
or hot dog
scene. Hot dog scene.
Hot dog scene.
You're welcome. But it's but I will say a good thing about
JJ has a similar nose.
Rise of Skywalker. It is pretty. It's pretty. It's visually a good looking movie. It does a good job with a lot of it has like cool shots in it and stuff like that. So there is eye candy at least. But let me look back on the chat a little bit. Sorry for ignoring you guys for so long, but we had the articles and the points to get to and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to go back too far, but okay. So that's where we had Will, who was fucking totally owning you. And then Mark's watch Star Wars Theory and other Star Wars channels complain that Vader didn't show up. This isn't a Vader series, and we don't have to see the Skywalkers every time in Star Wars. Yeah, I gotta I could be wrong, but and not to put it on them, but yeah, I'm not gonna watch the show. But those types of fans, I don't think this show is made for them.
Yeah, they
And
promised me they weren't watching the show, Jason.
I don't know. I don't
It
think
doesn't have the
Jerry did that.
boys in it. Doesn't have the boys in it.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna just watch. All right, you know.
Yeah.
Hey man, look, I really can't fucking stand Power Rangers. You don't see me watching all the new Power Rangers shows just to fucking tell everyone why I hate it. I love Star Wars, so when Star Wars doesn't work, okay, I'll tell you why I didn't think it worked for me. These motherfuckers, man, if they fucking aren't you a little Vadered out after Kenobi? Seriously?
I feel like number one, I love Darth Vader. You can watch Darth Vader all day, but the thing about it is you gotta space it out. You gotta dose it out. It's too rich. You can't keep doing it, or it's gonna make you sick. And you know what I mean? It's a rich dish. And so if every 5 years or something like that, I get some Darth Vader, that's how I would prefer it. I know I pretty damn sure he's in that Ahsoka series right now, based off of what I heard. And I think that one is completely relevant. It's not like let's just do Darth Vader, guys. It is relevant to Ahsoka's backstory. She is his disciple, and it's how she, where does she end up? She's part of Darth Vader's part of her legacy. Have to do it. So, but we're getting those two pretty close together. But after that, like I kind of hope we don't see Darth Vader for a long time, because
Yeah.
it just you got episode 4, 5, and 6, and that's where the important stuff happens. And could someone do something amazing with Darth Vader? Sure. I mean, anything is possible, right? I mean, anything is possible. But at the same time, like, how many times do I want to see a guy on dialysis? I don't know how many more
Saw
times.
Gerrera.
You know what I mean? Saw Gerrera. But yeah, Saw Gerrera like is actually like an interesting one. In a lot of ways, Saw Gerrera is more interesting than Darth Vader, in the sense that they are parallels of each other. But like with Saw, you have somebody who is literally a fucking hero, and then we see him now through different eras of time and a descent into sort of madness and losing humanity and
they
having
get a
the eye
Darth
on the
Vader.
prize. Mm-hmm.
They get a Darth Vader comic every month from Marvel, don't they? They go fucking read that there.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's cheap. I'm sure every episode is an amazing fucking Vader journey,
like I was telling you though, man, my 8-year-old wanted those Darth Vader books, literally asked for them. Was like, I need to hear the story. Like I said, the thing where he gets the battle droid arm and reads them, and he fucking loves it. Like,
I'm not gonna knock it, but when your 8-year-old joins the den of nerds, then we got a problem.
Oh no,
hey. Just to spite you, right?
No, that would be fine. At least I would be able to talk to.
I would be impressed if he joined Zero.
Yeah,
like look at that.
That'd be cool. That'd be
Makes
cool.
Sense.
Makes sense. Little Zero son. But anyways, yeah, no, like it did change my. Like where everything is like important, it's like, okay, he is doing stuff at that time. Fine. These things happen and this fucking metal, cool. The only thing about it is that like, it's not really the comics, the stuff that the comic does that gets me. It's men like us who take it super fucking serious and then cry when like the TV show isn't honoring or talking about the battle droid arm or something like that, where I'm just like, come on, like,
canon,
get perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
well, no, I mean,
really
it's
canon, folks.
Yeah, it is. No, it is.
Yeah,
it
is. Sure.
I mean, look at that T-16, man. That T-16 was in the comics.
And I promised my mom every year, right? I'd be really good and never do anything wrong again, so long as I got that Super Nintendo. And look where that got me.
Yeah. Sucked gave a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Sucked, for supporting the channel, man. Really, really, really appreciate it. And yeah, it means a lot. So thank you. During The Last Jedi, a guy I sat next to admitted his girlfriend didn't want to see the film with him. When Snoke died, he was like, fuck yeah. When the movie ended, he left and was like, see you at the next one.
It's a shame he It's a shame he didn't get a real sequel to that movie, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's. I don't know, man. Like, and once again, like that moment of Snoke dying, that was the first time when that was the first time in the Disney era where I felt like, fuck, that was brave, because I don't know what's gonna happen. My problem was now that did J.J. Abrams, but but it was like, oh, we'll make them clones and put them in tanks. But
JJ had, remember that mummy? You can make like a mummy head, a voodoo head out of apple. It was like a 70s game. JJ had that, and he was like, let's put little Snokes in there. Look, me little voodoo head, shrunken head Snokes in the buckets.
there is, it is because he played it so ambiguous. There's a chance some other filmmaker will come along, or like Filoni and Favreau or something, and we'll like save it. You know what I mean? We'll make it like significant. So like now when I see that stuff in the movie, I'm like, oh, like that has now, it means something to me. It has new meaning that is more important. Like that could happen. They were talking yesterday.
Yeah, talking about that night we all saw that movie. I was like,
well, I leaked that. I had the frames of that from the film, and I wrote about it.
I remember.
No. I'm saying, and when I heard, I was like, fuck, I was like, whoa. I thought, like, because it meant, it could mean so much, and then it was literally just an afterthought, a visual afterthought. It was like, well, but then that's how the whole movie ended up being. Like it was very frustrating at that time trying to write stories about that movie, because you're like, well, what does this mean? What does this mean? Oh, well, the movie just doesn't tell you. And I'm like, are you source? Are you sure? Yeah, it just doesn't tell you. So it just kind of was what it was, But yeah, I was talking to a friend, and they were telling me that like they know people that like Last Jedi is Rise of Skywalker is like their jam, and they don't get it. Like my friend is just like, I don't understand it. Like, but there's like, no, somebody has like a tattoo from the movie and shit, and it's like, so it's like you just never know what's going to connect with Star Wars fans.
I'm never going to shit on someone for enjoying something.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is vent the frustrations I felt watching something, so how I feel when I watch it. I think that's the thing I gotta really stress, folks. When I say something is like this or it's like that, it's how it made me feel. I'm not telling you it's how you should feel when you watch something. Like, and it feels like a cop out when some people say, "Oh, I'm glad someone should enjoy it." Like, I get it; it can be a little like subtle shade or like a cop out thing. I just say, and this is something as an artist, as a person who's been paid to make entertainment, you have to be very careful about which corridor you step down with your creative choices. Because although you may get it, hey, everyone likes it now, it quickly turns on you when you go down that path. And look, I'm the guy who enjoys Batman Forever, but look what it led to. Look what it led to when they kept going down the Batman Forever path. Got Batman and Robin. And so like that's one of those things where I'm like, whoa, so you can't just like ride that middle ground. They will lean more into one end. And I'm telling you, man, like more often than not, they make the wrong decisions, because it's easier to make the wrong decisions than the good ones. It's hard to know what the good decision is before you make something. It's super hard. And the decision they made on The Rise of Skywalker at the end of the day was to get that fucking movie out fast. And that was that everything that happened afterward shows, Yeah.
That's well, like
my take on it.
Like one thing, I think that there's something about how we learn, and the way that things are taught as well. Like, for instance, like before anybody goes to film school or makes a film, all they do is what we do on the show all the time. Look at something and go, here's what it should have been, because, whatever. But in order to, when you start thinking like that, it requires you to like do the wrong thing to then make it the right thing. And in movie making, a lot of times that seems to be wrong thing to right thing to writer thing to writer thing to writer thing. And then they just have to stop because the time's up. And just the rightest thing that they got, not necessarily the right thing, the rightest thing becomes the final film. And like I've noticed that like in music and stuff like that too. Like, you kind of like throw something down so that way you can make it right, and then you just kind of keep doing it. But when you're making a movie for a studio, it's just you run out of time. That's why Lucas used to say either movies are abandoned or they're taken away, you know. And I like what Superfry 401 is saying. This show sounds like it'll be cool and fun. I can already see fans doubting the show, and we haven't seen it yet. People need to relax, light spliff, and chill. And I think that is like the best way to go. Me and Rob always say it sucks that we don't have a time machine and that we can't like watch the whole series on something and then talk about it. Instead, we got to do this like weekly thing where like we are taking each element and critiquing it almost holistically on something, and it's not really how this stuff stands. The stuff stands, you know, the dominoes fall to the next domino kind of situation, but we're always talking about the domino that we are on. And I think
surprised. I know we get some credit, we get some shade on here where people think I'm like super hard to please. Like,
yeah,
I'm not. Like, I watch Willow and I'm like, this is the guy who should have made the prequels. You know, like Ron Howard, the tone of Willow would have worked across those 3 films, I think, just fine. You know, like I would have been like, this is fun, this is great. I don't know what everyone's complaining about. I would have been confused. So like, I'm not saying it should have been fucking Lord of the Rings meets Braveheart meets fucking Rage Against the Machine meets The Matrix meets, you know, I'm not saying all that bullshit, you know? And I just think like, where was I going with that? Fucking
I'm having this mental image of you, and you walk into a fancy sort of like, I don't know what, this place doesn't really exist, but it's like a restaurant of sorts for very high end stuff. And this little person comes up and gives you a pastry, and it's a Willow pastry, and you eat it and you say, Then you go over and you sit down, and then they serve a Phantom Menace pastry to you, a Phantom Menace eclair, and you put it in your mouth and you go, ugh, this should have been the Willow chef. And then you look at the maitre d' and you say, I wish this had been the Willow chef. So the audience, what do they see? They see a tough customer, Rob. They see a tough customer.
Yeah. Well,
Rob
you know what I
likes
do? I just walk
50%.
away. Like, and you know I will. I'll just walk right out. I'm not sitting around for this. Like,
you know what though?
Yeah.
That wasn't a good analogy. So Rob and Jason are at Costco and there's free samples. No, I'm kidding.
This is a good, because I'm like, I'm not eating that, and you couldn't pay me to. I don't give a shit if it's free. Like, there's no fucking way I'm putting that bullshit in my mouth. I'm not saying I won't eat cheap ass food like Taco Bell. I'm saying I won't eat the fucking bullshit food they're giving me here because that looks disgusting.
Yeah.
You know, like in a way that I can't be nostalgic for a fucking penis roll. Seagram's penis roll. Like, oh, thanks. I don't really need this in my mouth, but all right. You know?
Yeah.
I do think, though, I was thinking to myself, like, if I was able to have seen Boba Fett and Kenobi last summer before I started the show, right, with you, coming on the show with you, I probably would have just waited to come on the show. Like, I don't know. I enjoy talking to you a lot. That's like my fun part of the day.
I enjoy talking to you too, Rob.
But this whole like everyone fucking hates me or thinks I'm impossible to please shit, I'm like, I got a whole family of that. I don't need the fucking internet telling me every day too. You know, like I'll just sit in my room, grumble fucking to myself. You know, like I don't need this. So, you know.
Yeah, no, it's always important to be honest about how things are or not working for you. I mean, if the whole fandom just says everything's great, or podcast or only shows that think things are great, the creatives get no meaningful feedback, do they? You know, I mean, I don't know if they watch this show for meaningful feedback. They think they might just watch the show to try to figure out who's leaking or something. But you know,
well, that's like Kenobi. I think there's lessons to be learned and improvements that can be made, and I hope they do. Yeah. I really hope, because I think if they do, you go from, let's say, a Batman Begins to a Dark Knight. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, for a lot of people. So, but when it's just like, when I hear things like, well, the numbers are great, so that means it's perfect, keep doing it. I'm like, yeah, the numbers were great on Batman Forever. The numbers were brilliant on Batman Forever. Go look at the numbers for Batman Forever compared to the Batman Returns. You know? Yeah. Money, merchandise, fan engagement, the vibe, everything. What happened to the very next fucking film? So you got to be very, and I think that can happen over and over. Wonder Woman to Wonder Woman 84. Go look at that, you know? Yeah. So, like, just got to be careful, you know.
So Joel Williams says Dello Feligates is hilarious, and some of our some of the younger viewers may not have been on the internet or old enough to be on the internet when the script for Attack of the Clones leaked, the early draft, and the early draft had Jar Jar Binks learning Diplo dialect from Padme to become a senator who assisted her, or and as he would later on in the film when she couldn't be there, was like the substitute. And so the Dello Feligates thing comes out of him trying to speak English perfectly. And then he goes on to, they like kind of correct each other, or she corrects him or something like that. And then he goes on to like say, it is with my utmost, kind of whatever. And a little bit of that is sort of in the film, but it's not what it was. Because
Spock, fascinating.
Well, no, because what they were doing in that one moment is after that, Jar Jar was going to speak, not Gungan crazy. You know what I mean? He was gonna speak just straight up like Misa, not Misa Jar Jar Binks. He would be like me Jar Jar Binks, or whatever. I don't know.
That fixes everything.
I'm Jar Jar Binks. Well, no, he didn't do it though. No, that was the thing. But it's insightful because it said where Lucas was at mentally when he was, what the pressure he was feeling from the Jar Jar situation, how the media was attacking him, and how he did in some ways. It's proof that he caved. And then Arya.
No, that's not true, Jason. I felt no pressure on those movies. I did whatever I wanted, and I loved everything. And yeah, you should too.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I will.
All right.
I will.
Now I'm gonna go work on editing
like...
Red Tails for the 18th time. there's a cut in here somewhere, Jason. Somewhere.
Arya earlier, I can't find it where she asked, but she asked, isn't Krennic in this? So the thing is, there were people who were saying Krennic was in it, but only because they saw the officers in the white uniforms.
Right.
And there were people that were telling us like, Andy Serkis wears one of the white uniforms, is what somebody said at one point. And there was like all this different stuff about like, the white uniforms. And I think it's Krennic. And it's so inconclusive. Is it possible that Krennic does show up in this? I still think he totally could. And the fact that if that scoop that we had is accurate and the people in that prison camp are making parts for the Death Star, then we end up with the situation where Krennic very well may show up and may have a moment at least in it. And I think the fact that the show runs up into Rogue One is the rumor, that's the truth, a confirmed truth. And the rumor is they're making Death Star parts, which would mean that the Death Star will be a sort of something running through all of this about how to get the Death Star done. Saw Gerrera's supposedly his backstory is that he knows that Stardust is something, like he knows that this project is going to have dire consequences. He knows what happened to the Geonosians was weird and that there's something going on there. He's just never been able to get at it. And so I think since we see Saw Gerrera in this, we're likely going to end up moving into that direction. So I think Krennic either this season or next season is highly possible, but I would say far from confirmed right now. And then
now when it comes into the topic of cartoonish evil, by the way, like I really, you could go say Empire, but let's just go back to A New Hope. The Empire, yeah, there may be that these systems and that kind of like bullshit talking, but you open up to Vader and the stormtroopers on that fucking Tantive 4 or whatever, that's not cartoonish evil. Tarkin blowing up an entire planet just to bluff out, you know what I mean? Like, this chick is not cartoonish evil. Like, it may be simplified evil, but it's not cartoonish. I don't feel the evil cartoon shit really appears until you get to like Jedi with, I guess, Jabba the Hutt appears more cartoonish than anything else, and then the stormtroopers when fighting Ewoks comes across as cartoonish.
Yeah.
So like that, that was a complaint back then. It's a complaint for some of us who don't really give a shit about Jedi, is the cartoon. I don't mind simplified evil. Batman villains are basically simplified evil. They're not that deep, you know.
Yeah.
Even the newest Batman movie is not a particularly deep and insightful villain. It's fairly simple, but cartoonish. I don't know, man. I don't think Star Wars benefits from having villains who are like, like it doesn't, and that's when they cast Giancarlo as Gideon. I was super excited. I'm like, maybe this will be like their take on Thrawn without doing Thrawn. And after that Dark Forces episode, man, like, I'm like, I don't know, dude. This dude is really coming across like a 1997 LucasArts villain, and I don't think
Yeah.
that helps.
Yeah. So far, they have a lot of work to do. I hope they are aware. I think they are, but I hope that they are.
He's so good. He brings so much presence.
Well, I gotta say,
know?
I think Krennic is the most well written villain that they have done yet.
Because you read Catalyst, but many of these cats never read it.
No, I mean, you do. I mean, it definitely helps, but I will not take that away from Catalyst that it helps, but in the movie, you can just tell that he's not the same class as Tarkin, and how they like treat him, and like how he's hungry and how he's trying to like prove himself and stuff. I still think that stuff reads on screen. At least it does.
Oh no, it
does
does, and I agree,
Yeah.
it does, and I think it's the closest I've seen in a Star Wars film to showing like that dark side apprentice style person trying to like fulfill some ambitions against a Dark Lord type character, even though they're not Jedi or anything like that, but that apprentice trying to one up his master and then failing horribly.
Right.
Like it all come crumbling down upon him because you just don't have, you're not at that level. You're beyond your ability here, kid. Like
Yeah.
it's there. Yeah. And I think if you want to look at the Krennic and Tarkin relationship, look at it the way you would a Palpatine versus an apprentice, trying to like that's the difference,
And the thing about like Anakin Skywalker, right? It's like that guy is like there's a whole, faux sociological study there about how we get that guy, and what it means to be weaned from mother too early, and how we get our mommy issues and stuff like that. And it's all it's all good. But Krennic is the realistic villain. Like that is more of the guy that you're gonna encounter at the New York Stock Exchange, and who's
He's
gonna
also would have
end up
fit
making
right
bad
in.
calls and shit like
He
you
would
know
have
what I
fit
mean in
right,
real
right
life.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have fit right
Mhm.
in Valkyrie. The movie Valkyrie about
Yeah.
the German German military trying to kill Hitler and shit. So like he would have fit right in that mold.
Yeah. I'm trying to it's weird. My phone is being a bitch right now. I'm trying to get to the question after this question because somebody asked what was my favorite thing to cover. And there's actually like a moment, and I have it in video, and I'm trying to like pull it open right now, but it's being a jerk. Okay, I think I have to convert it and everything. So I'm gonna do that right now though. While I'm on the show. But Sucked, thank you again, Sucked, for the $4.99 super chat. Again, much appreciated for supporting the show. I know it's like times are tough, and it's everything costs more, everything like that. So it means a lot. Back in the day, teachers gave us Batman Forever pogs to get us to do our homework. That's how big that movie was back then.
I sent images of those to my buddy for his birthday. The pogs. Yeah.
Were they like? Was that like a promotion from
Sort
Batman
of. I mean,
Forever?
they were putting everything on pogs at that time, bro. I had Spawn pogs,
Yeah.
I bought a whole box of Spawn pogs.
Right.
So, and I didn't even play pogs. I was just like, it's artwork, I know.
Okay.
I know. I know. I was one of those cats, like just addicted to buying the same shit over and over again. I've learned my lesson. I don't do it, now. But
Rob just wanted the blue pastry.
what's wrong with blue pastry?
Yeah.
By the way,
like,
Sunday is my every other month French pastry day, We've already pre-ordered. Can't wait. Can't wait.
Okay. What kind
No,
of pastry are you having?
it's all like French. Like there's actual real French patissier out here. They're from France. They're really good. Expensive, not cheap. But so we got like the Laurel, which is like a certain kind of tart. These almond croissants that have like this custard, that's made in there, like a chocolate choux, like a choux pastry.
Yeah.
It's all good stuff, man. Got enough for at least like a week to snack on here and there, and put on water weight. But I don't know.
Okay, hold on. I'm oh, wait, hold on. So it's being stupid. Hold on 1 second. Okay, here I know how to do it. I know how to do it, Rob. Rob, I can do it. I gotta hit stop screen, and then I gotta go share screen again, and then video file. So this isn't really like necessarily like my favorite, this is my favorite moment of covering anything ever right here. Let me see if it'll share it. Hopefully you guys sound and all that. Okay, it's thinking about it, you guys. I promise, it's coming right now. Did it play it? Or is it just fucking up?
It just loaded.
It's just loading in, right? Okay, there it goes. All right, well, see that guy's face? See it right there at the end?
Yeah.
Look at his little face.
Yeah,
Eric Denton was there with his son on this day too. I wish I had video of all of it, but it just didn't get it.
When your son sees his dad's name in Beavis and Butthead.
You did?
Yeah.
Were you excited?
Yeah.
All right.
He's so happy.
That's the Super Santa Death Trooper.
You did?
Yeah.
Were you excited?
Yeah.
All right. he saw stormtroopers and death troopers on set that day, and he was just like, this is like the coolest thing. He would
have been the highlight of my childhood.
I don't know if he remembers it either. Like we talked about
That's
it.
crazy. Because
yeah.
When you think about like the first time you saw Star Tours or you went to Star Tours, for me it was in '86. We went that year. My uncle took me because he knew I was poor. It's almost like Make a Wish. Still have the fucking the mug, the silver mug. Don't put it in a microwave mug. But man, that was like that was when I felt like I went to Star Wars. For the first time. Like that was like we went to Star Wars. I'll never forget it. So like that would be crazy. He's like what, 5 right there or 6?
Yeah. That's during season 1. That's they're filming the end of Mando season 1 that day when the Death Troopers show up for that end battle against Cara Dune, Grief Karga, and the Mando.
It's probably because he just got so much cool shit happening for kids.
No. I got videos of him where he's like walking around like at 2 years old with lightsabers chasing stormtroopers like at events and stuff like that. So it's like for him and then
wealth of riches.
I did we had before the pandemic, we had Disneyland passes, and when their mom left, I homeschooled them because I didn't want them to like go to a school for 1 year. I was like, I'll just teach them myself. I have the time, I could do this and that. And so, but what I would do is I would go to like Galaxy's Edge, and we would like sit there and we would do the homework. And then when the schoolwork, once all the schoolwork was done, then we would go fucking Millennium Falcon ride. Like that's way cooler than my kindergarten. I'll tell you that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that was the dream.
Yeah. So he has like a lot of that kind of stuff where I think it's easier to like, not remember everything, but he remembers when Favreau came and looked at us. I think he remembers that.
I remember that post.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I remember when I first watched the first season, I'm like, that's the day they pointed at Jason.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so anyways, but my like favorite movie, like it's weird, like it really depends. It really truly just like depends, but it's like The Force Awakens was really like rad. That was like a really, really rad time. And that's when I was proving myself and people said it couldn't be done. And so part of it was like uncovering the first Star Wars and all that time was super crazy. And then pulling it off, like pulling the heist off, if you will. Not that it's really a heist, but you see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so anyways, like that was big, but then like Rogue One was sort of a come down from that, and it was interesting. I got a lot from that. I got the whole plot from it and everything.
A lot
But
of
it was
drama though too, with the making of that movie. So gotta imagine.
yeah. No, it was a ton. And Penny's trying to FaceTime me right now, but sorry, Penny, I'm on a show. I'll FaceTime you after. When you hit decline, why doesn't it just decline everywhere? It's really, really weird. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is then we had The Last Jedi. A lot of fun on that one though, because there were like people like bringing me stuff from like around like the areas and stuff. And that one was cool. Solo, I had my hands tied by Solo. They got so mad at me about The Last Jedi. I was like, well, let's just play ball. And I was feeling a little bit burned out then. So that one wasn't very, very fun. And then 9 and Mando is when I was like, I'm back, baby. And so I think Mando was probably the second best. Just like finding the set and everything. Like that was huge. Like that was crazy. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I'm gonna say like the highlights that were probably spoiling episode 7, getting all the stuff from that, and then after that was finding the Mando set and my friend who helped me find it. That was good times. And I mean, I've enjoyed like if you ask me tomorrow, I'll probably say something completely different. You know what I mean? I think it just depends on like what I'm looking back on. And then it's like it's always weird too, because like when you think back to like certain things, you're like, oh, that person was fucking me over that right then, or something like that. And it kind of like uglies up the water, muddies it up a little bit. And but the one consistent is Chris Breezy. Fucking good guy. Always has been, always will be. But
yeah, we're all just waiting for me to betray you, right, Jason?
Nah, you won't betray me. It would already have happened.
Papa Murphy's,
Papa Murphy's for pizza.
What I would not do. Today is Papa Murphy's day, so I gotta order that when we get done. That's why I sent you the pizza. I am having pizza today. It's my pizza day.
I'm telling Penny that I'm on the show. So, but yeah. So, anyways, that's pretty much how I'd say that like washes out. But then at the same time too, like fucking Kenobi was pretty rad though. Like I really, really liked Kenobi. I had a lot going against me, a lot of people shit talking me, trying to tear me down. I fucking came out like the fucking ultimate warrior with my face paint still on, so that was kind of fun.
I'll tell you, as a fan of your work, and your coverage and the podcast and everything, being here for all of that, you know what I mean, was super fun. I was like, this is fun. This is fun. I love all this. Then the show come out, I'm like, I don't care if it, like, that's why we were like, what are you watching? I'm like, look, even if I don't care, I'm like, fucking Jason had all this shit right, like, I find all that shit super fascinating, like how everything works out that way. And it was super fun. And that's why I was like, when you would get you, I'm like, dude, because that was the one thing I never got to say as a fan. I was like, congrats when you would get some shit. But this time I was like, that's why it was funny when you dug up posts where I was congratulating you 2 years ago. I'm like, see, Jason? You just didn't read your fucking post. But
I know. Like on YouTube was so I had the entirety of the fandom menace like coming after me, like every single time. So every single thing I did was like throwing a punch, in a fight. And then so it was kind of like, what's the point in reading the comments here? You know what I mean? Like just to a certain extent. And then I just kind of like
before we go, do you think, let's say you get everything, let's say the Taika movie is the next thing, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say that's what's happening next. And let's say you get as much shit on that as you got Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker and The Force Awakens, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that'll be fun to cover? Or do you think that's gonna be like a trying bit of fucking nonsense? You know,
Well, like,
with
well, no, it's like the fun part, like with Kenobi, was figuring out things, getting the big answers to like the big questions. Like that was rad. Then the shitty thing was like when fucking Den of Nerds theory goes out and then starts turning it into like a race war,
right.
saying it's a bait and switch and it's this and that, and like, and then you're like, oh cool, you're making kind of me an accessory to your shitty take on the world. And like,
Yeah, like these are the
it's,
ones that get me about the Taika thing. Is these are the ones that will probably complain about Taika's humor
yeah,
while simultaneously saying they love the prequels. I'm like, I can't see how that's, because Taika humor is way better than any of the prequel that's been in the prequels. Any of the humor in the prequels, you know what I mean? The humor in the prequels was super childish, like
Well,
at the very best. Like,
yeah, but I mean, but once again, it's I'm not talking about those two guys specifically now, but just like in general, you'll see like the
fan base.
fandom menace guys, they go and they will like prop up the prequels as being this thing that is theirs and that they're big on and all that kind of shit, when it's the actual series that hates them, that despises their very ideology and everything about it.
Right.
And they don't care though. They may even know. They don't care. It's because things are just props to stand up, to make controversy, to give their daily show meaning. You know, and it's like, you know, yeah, when jokes come out about the Taika thing, and if they're like, or if there's a point and there's like a joke in there, and let's put it on Bestman Bulletin. He's a good writer. Bestman Bulletin goes and like relays it. It's not going to be as funny reading it from Bestman Bulletin as it is watching the actors or Taika's executed on screen. So it's going to make it like, it's going to be like a joke explained. And I think that it'll probably get beat up. You never know though. You never know.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying people can't not like humor in Star Wars. I'm fine, but if you're for the prequel stuff but against this, I just don't understand. It's conflicting to me. If you didn't like the prequel humor and you don't want this, you just want more of a serious thing, I understand it. I don't get it, you know?
Your Darth Hero's journey, by the way. Tyrant says, Poe, do your mama jokes doesn't belong in Star Wars, but Jar Jar making Step and Pooh jokes is fine. Yeah, I think the mom joke is great. I honestly do. I think calling him Darth Hugs and making fun of his mom, that's completely what Poe Dameron, I think that fits his character. And it's what he would do to that sniveling little bitch. Like, who wouldn't? You know what I mean? So I was okay with that. It's just, yeah, it's weird when people take Star Wars so seriously that like that they can't see it going any other way. But it's like there were moments in World War II that were probably a hell of lot like Rogue One stuff, right? Like that seriousness and the espionage and shit. But there were probably moments where there were just hilarious dudes that said funny ass shit. You know, like in Ukraine when those guys talk shit over the radio on the fucking fuck your Russian ships or whatever the fuck they were saying. Like those dudes were like hilarious. That was a Poe Dameron moment. That was like that. And
you know what? Full Metal Jacket has a guy named Joker making jokes in Vietnam the whole fucking time. Just to you know, and don't tell me it ain't a serious film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could. Yeah, they could have made it. They could have made it Star Wars Full Metal Jacket / Platoon if they wanted to, but they, you know, so like, yeah, you can't really take that stuff out of it and say like that wouldn't happen. I think it's like, I think when you make that argument, you are really leaning into the Saturday matinee aspects of it very hard and not letting Star Wars go beyond, you know, the referential stuff beyond like the early 60s, probably, you know, but, and it does. Star Wars does do that. So, you know, it's, Will Morgan says it's not its humor. It's the parody though. It's the form of humor because it breaks the fourth wall.
I would say there's plenty of fourth wall breaking for me in a lot of the prequel shit, dude. The Nemodians, like that shit.
Well, that
Or
I mean,
little Annie,
well,
little
no,
Skywalker, like that shit.
breaking the fourth wall is like when Ferris Bueller looks at the camera and talks to
Yeah,
it.
that's never happened in a Star Wars movie.
Breaking the fourth wall in Star Wars would be like, you're going to be the death of me. Would they have written that if it wasn't for the fact? Is it foreshadowing or is it fourth wall breaking? I don't really know. I'm not smart enough to be able to like tell you that. But
yeah,
I
feel
don't,
like I'm going to be here a really long time, which is actually a good line, right?
Yeah.
But that's fourth wallish.
Is it?
You
But
know?
yeah, is it fourth wall breaking though, or because it's telling us like audience, I know you know, or is it foreshadowing when you know the audience? But once again, throwing the lightsaber behind your back, for instance, isn't breaking the fourth wall. It's just I just
well,
like
unless you actually
instance,
break the wall when you do it, like and you broke.
Sure. Yeah, like it ignites
literally.
and cuts through the frame,
Sure.
and then the gremlins, or then the Hulkster says, "Put that lightsaber back on, brother," and then he does.
Put your little popcorns in your. It's the only thing he's ever done that I like. That's it.
Pretty much. Something he's done that will ever hold
too.
up. Yeah, fuck him. But yeah, you know, I'm an Iron Sheik man. You know, fuck him in the ass, make him humble. But anyways, I just think that it's not. I don't really think it's fourth wall breaking. Does it reference actual culture? Yeah. Could that take us out? And is that sort of in a way dabbling its toes in the fourth wall breaking? Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe there like is a line. And like, but I personally, like I said, I think that like Luke's characterization of throwing that lightsaber behind him, I think that's I'm not saying Mark Hamill came up with it. I'm saying that's Mark Hamill though. That's Rian Johnson going, you know, Mark Hamill in terms of like live action acting, it's hit and miss. How am I going to get the best performance out of Luke Skywalker? I'm going to write Luke Skywalker as Mark Hamill. And I think that's kind of what he did. And I think he got a good performance out of Luke Skywalker, out of Mark Hamill for that. I love Mark Hamill. I think he's a good actor. But I mean, like in certain ways, like his initial acting skills are outdated and they don't play today in the same way that they would. And then he went into live action. It wasn't like he was doing theater the whole time. You know, it's the only thing I ever heard of him doing was like Elephant Man years before, like after Return of the Jedi. Wing Commander, yeah. So it's like, are we gonna pretend like the cast from Wing Commander was that stellar? You know,
in that movie where he was a
bounty
hunter.
Wasn't that Freddie Prinze Jr. in that one too? I think Freddie Prinze
He was
Jr.
in the game though.
The game, okay.
He was in the game with the actual puppets.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's really what I think kind of happened there. I think that was the methodology behind it. And you know, everyone's free to like disagree with it. I do agree with it. I think it was the right way to go.
Yeah, I disagree with it.
I think it would have been I think it would have been worse to see Mark Hamill floundering in the role. You know what I mean?
I think he has it in him to do something more dramatic, you know? Like he could drop it. He could you know, he could do it in a way that just wasn't a wink and a nod.
I think we got that. I think we got the curmudgeon side of Mark Hamill, or we got episode 9 shit-eating grin, which is also I think for me is more fourth wall breaking in episode 9 than the lightsaber moment, like kind of stuff. And
which is why I still think The Last Jedi is the best of those 3 films.
Yeah.
And it's not by a large margin, by the
way. I think anybody who knows anything about film at all should be able to say, I don't appreciate the choices in episode 9, but I can see it's a well-crafted film, not to my preference. I think that's
it's no Batman and Robin.
Valid, you know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's no Batman and Robin, like at all. I'm not even going to say. Matter of fact, it's a better film than Wonder Woman 84 by a large margin, because it doesn't have. Dude, I hate to shit on that film, man, but like the fucking her rolling with the kid dummies, like. That shot alone should never have ended up in a theatrical release of anything.
No. That was like the problem with that film, though. It's like when that happens and like the whole opening in the mall and all that stuff, it was going like we're doing a Dick Donner, Richard Lester Superman movie from
more Richard Lester.
More Richard Lester for sure. But that we're going with that flavor, but then it didn't stick to it. And so like it couldn't decide like like which it was. And so in the end, it didn't satisfy. I was actually on board for the movie being that. I'm like, okay, cool.
Then she can fly. And I was like,
And then,
Jesus
well,
Christ, we're
I mean,
doing this.
I felt like Pedro Pascal didn't know where he was when he was making the movie. I felt like he felt like that character was completely lost. It was like an idea for a character and not a character. And
Correct.
I never finished the movie because I couldn't fucking do it. You know what I mean? I just couldn't
Oh
do it.
yeah, you
Yeah, I just
locked
could
out
not.
basically.
It came on HBO Max on Christmas Day, I want to say. And my buddy Eric, super into it. I was like excited for him. I wanted to watch it, talk to him about it, and just was like, just couldn't do it. Just got as far as I could. And nope. And that is kind of I don't know.
It's sad because people worked on it. You want to be able to see. I mean, it's like as an artist, when anytime you make something, you're hoping you're doing it for an audience. You're not really doing it just for, I know we go make art for yourself. Yeah, but you want people to look at it.
Mhm.
Otherwise, what are you doing here? So like, it's just a shame, when I'm watching something, say like Sonic 2, I'm like, I should love this, but this ain't the fucking first movie for me. And Wonder Woman, that one hurt because Wonder Woman, the first movie, surprised me so much. I came out that theater going, I told my wife, you gotta come see this. You gotta bring your family. If your family was in town, I'm like, we're all gonna go see this fucking movie. Like, this is good. So, and then to see that, I'm like, why would you lean into Richard Lester? Like, why? Why would you lean into the opening of Superman 3?
I don't even disagree with that. If you are making a cornball comedy and it's meant to be fun, but it has to be fun. Like I, as a kid, I love those movies. I mean, is it like the most Dark Knight Christopher Nolan fucking cut your chops and show you got balls and superhero? No, that's not what you would do. But I also think that if there's a reverence for it and a love, and it's massively underrepresented, and and Batman and Robin killed the ability to even encroach on it. And I was like, oh, I thought it was kind of a brave, fun idea. And I was like, okay. And I thought it was going to be a mishmash of that with like 80s stuff. I thought I was going to hear like Duran Duran and stuff, and Aha was going to come up and shit like that. And I was like, let's do it.
I thought there was going to be some parable between the Summer Olympics.
Yeah.
Because they took place in LA in '84.
Yeah.
And the idea of projecting an alien invasion during the Olympics, which Alex Jones used to rail about for the longest time.
I remember getting my Sam the Eagle shorts, white shorts, a little Sam the Eagle on it, the Sam the Eagle hat. And I remember the guy running past my apartment with the Olympic torch. Like the street where my apartment was with the Olympic torch on that one. Yeah, that was cool. I remember I was like, whoa, something big is going on. And yeah, it was like that and Thriller. And then a couple years later, it was like Hands Across America. I didn't do that shit. I was like, that's dumb.
It was dumb.
It was dumb. Yeah, but so people keep picking on Taika's movie only made $800 million. It's going to ruin Star Wars. So they're going to take it from them. And I'm like, no, they're not. It made $800 million. Once again,
the fact that Thor made $800 million is nuts, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter that like fucking Thor. Yeah, it like I said, it doesn't matter if Book of Boba Fett's good if it gets those numbers. It doesn't matter if Thor is actually good or to a certain part of the fan base is liking if it makes $800 million and high numbers.
But when they do another one, they should learn from what didn't work, and they should have an internal barometer for that. They can't go around being like everything I do is great. Like Michael. Then you end up with the Michael Bay Transformers, man. You end up with the first movie that has some positives, some negatives, and then you get the fucking most racist robots I've ever seen in Revenge of the Fallen. I mean, it's so bad, dude. Like, I can't believe that actually got made.
Did we talk about this?
Well, it's almost 2:30, so we got.
Yeah, did we talk about it though? Because we'll hit it and then we'll be done because it's Friday, so we got to kind of like, but it'll be dead next week. But there was the last thing here is Solo 2. Inverse article, but will he ever return to one of the characters that this is about Lawrence Kasdan, arguably shaped? Could Lawrence Kasdan ever write dialogue for Han Solo again? When asked directly about a Han Solo streaming TV series, Kasdan shoots it down. Excuse me, there's not any talk of that, he says. I've never been particularly drawn to expanding Solo into a show, but I do talk to John Kasdan, his son, and Ron Howard, Opie, a lot about what went right and what went wrong with the Solo experience. I would be more interested in doing another movie, not a TV series. So it doesn't mean that Solo 2 is going to happen. It doesn't mean anything other than the fact that 3 of the people responsible for it still do talk about it. And I think that the big takeaway from this piece here is that Lawrence Kasdan isn't saying fuck no to more Star Wars in essence. So that there could be something down the road. I do think that, like, with writing Solo with his son and having written episode 7 with JJ Abrams, I do think he kind of, like, you know, he's kind of done it. And if he never does it again, I wouldn't blame him. I think he did a good job on the stuff that he did. And you know, he did classic movies and Raiders of the Lost Ark and Empire and Jedi. I think he's fucking given us a lot. So if he never does anything again, we can just be thankful for that. But that said, it does sound like if they were like, hey, we want to do a Han Solo movie, it sounds like he would be more than he would be at least be open to the idea, you know. And I think that if they do it, they should not call it Solo 2. They shouldn't call it Solo anything. They should just give the movie a title, and it should happen to have Han Solo and friends in it. Like, that would be the way to go. But all right.
Yeah, well, they already did the Kessel Run, Jason, so they missed their big fucking pod race moment.
That's not true.
We're gonna do another one.
They ruined their big reference moment. That is utterly, who gives a fuck, though, when you really get down to it.
Rob.
That moment is not exciting though, and it's not. And now
they made it not exciting,
right?
You know?
And but what I'm saying is that does not mean that they can't do Days of Thunder with Han Solo and make it fucking cool. Just because it's not the Kessel Run, you know. Now it's the Truffle Shuffle.
Run.
It's the Truffle
Katar
Shuffle.
Look, if you could give me a Solo movie and Matt Berry plays Kyle Katarn and they're rivals, and Kyle Katarn sold his voice to a droid factory for money, you know what I mean? Like, I'll watch that fucking movie. You know,
sure.
Like Taika should do the Solo movie. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
he won't, but there you go.
For all we fucking know, he is. Yeah, I mean, when you really get down to it, people are talking about what the show is and isn't. Nobody knows a fucking thing. So
it's true.
I mean, you know, at the end of the day, that piece of concept art may even be a ruse, which is worth considering. He might have just thought it was pretty and said, "I like these colors. Let's add it to the palette." It could literally.
Honestly, it looks like dolly art to me. I couldn't tell you what the fuck that is.
Yeah.
You
know? You need to go in there and make us some Taika Waititi concept art. No. All right, everyone. Rob needs to go eat pizza, and I got some stuff to do.
Breakfast. Yes.
You need to
ordering my pizza.
You need to eat pizza though. You need to.
We all need.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Rob, I'll let you go right as soon as we're done, and I'll talk to you in DMs later. All right, everyone. Have a good day. Be cool. Head, protector of the realm. Bad. All hell and live it. All hell and bad. All hell and live it.
I like spaceships.
Get the fuck out of my house.
It's the end. It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go. It's not about spaceships.